Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Masterclass Episode 14, a show where we play, we strategize, and we explore the game of Hearthstone. Tonight, we'll be talking about two classes. We'll be talking about the Rogue and the Warlock. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Tarn. Tarn, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. As you can see, I hopefully will not be fired. I am actually in a new location this week after like a month of talking about it.
Yep.
So we got moved, all good stuff.
Congrats.
Now I just need some furniture and whatnot, but otherwise, doing good.
I love that. I love that new move echo you got. It's really perfect. Almost as good as that fresh car smell.
Empty. Echo. Echo.
Buy me furniture, please.
It's so good. It's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah, otherwise doing great. Yourself?
Good. I'm doing really good. And I'm excited because we've got a good show for everybody tonight. And as always, let us begin with a little warm-up. And we'll talk more about the show as we warm it up. As it happens to be, we'll be playing a few different decks. We'll be messing around with the Rogue, a mid-range, and a board control Warlock. Not the one that everybody's playing, but one that I saw Nimsh use in a tournament that I really like, with one or two minor modifications. But to start, we will warm it up. And since I've filled up all my decks, and I love to give you a hard time, this is the Warlock deck.
Oh, what a bastard. You just like to rain on the parade of the warm-up. But you know what? It's alright, because I bring the party.
Yep. You do bring the party, Tarn. You bring the party here, you bring the party at BlizzCon, you bring the party in general.
I do. Where's the action? Where's the action? Uh-oh.
Sorry, I was messing with the overlays there. We'll keep it speedy. Speed round time.
Got it.
Fiery War Axe. I would love it if you actually knew that this is what I was going to play. And so as a result, you, like, in advance knew I was going to play my ladder deck. And so you built a deck to beat it. That would make me so happy.
It would be awesome. Uh-oh, the party.
Look at this. Look at this.
The party. That Paladin captain, man, is fired. We launched a new captain. We got it. Can't get rid of the pirates, man. You can't get rid of them. Uh-oh.
This is all pirates all day, man, on the Masterclass warm-up.
It's how we roll. It's how we do.
I do mind if you roll need. But do you mind if I roll need? Upgrade. Upgrade.
Count it. +1.
Bam.
Right, so far, we're continuing the trend. The party is off to a roaring start. Hopefully we don't get busted and shut down, but, you know. Oh, Mortal Coil. That's just like the party pooper right there. Is that double Mortal Coil?
It might be double Mortal Coil, because I do mind if you roll need.
Oh my god. Jeez.
But that's okay, man. We can hang out with the Bloodsail Corsair. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know what did you get? I know. So good.
Oh, the pirates, man.
So good. All right.
The parrot. I think the parrot is like my favorite card in this game.
It might be one of my favorites as well.
Shall not pass.
It's the best I got right now.
Holy crap. That's a lot of cards.
It's a pirate party, and there's your Arcanite coming to mess with the party. Why you always gotta ruin the party? I mean, I'm not talking about the pirate party. You gotta ruin the Warlock party here.
The Warlock party.
Always ruining the Warlock party.
You're just playing your small minions. I'm just playing the pirates. You know. Brutal. What do we gotta say? What do we gotta say?
Brutal.
Don't like that. 1 mana. Well, you used both Mortal Coils. Okay. I was gonna say, what would 1 mana get you?
It gets me. It gets me 3 damage to the face. Is what it gets me at this point in the game. Ha ha! Oh no! Oh no! I'm gonna get taken down by pirates! I'm gonna get taken down by pirates!
The party, we can feel it. We can feel it. All right. All right. Come on. Let's not get too excited here. Anything could happen. But the pirates are looking good.
I imagine you've got a weapon in your hand. Else, like, what? You know?
No. I mean, it's only a warrior. Why would a warrior have weapons? Oh no! Oh no!
GG!
You didn't let the pirates get the blow. That's okay. They don't need the finishing blow at the party. They're happy.
You want to hear something funny? I drew a defender of Argus with that death blow, and I could have taunted up and possibly survived. So you did just enough damage. That was really well done, man. Really well done.
All right, we got a notch under the pirate belt. Maybe the warrior will continue as captain for next week.
Absolutely.
So far he's been the best captain of the pirate ship.
Absolutely. Right. Well played, well played. And as you can see on the agenda, we're going to discuss the rogue deck, which is a mid-range rogue deck, in a few minutes. And then we're going to do some customs with analysis about that deck. We're going to play against the Harrison Jones Mage, and we're going to play against an Aggro Paladin. So, we will also do some Warlock deck discussion, and then I will do some cooperative laddering with Tarn with my Warlock on the ladder. So, to go into the Rogue, as you can see here on the left or right hand side, I basically have, actually let's just do the warm-up here. I have Backstab, Deadly Poison, Eviscerate, Blood Mage, Fairy Dragon, Nat Pagle, Fan of Knives, Harvest Golem, Shattered Sun, SI Agent, Dark Iron, Defender of Argus, Gnomish Inventor, Assassin's Blade, Assassinate, and Argent. What you see here is mostly neutral minions, and then a few of the key and most common rogue spells, weapons, and minions. And I think what I can say about this deck is I'm terrible with it. So I'm really excited to learn. And apparently it just plays itself. That's what Tarn tells me. So apparently it should just be a piece of cake. But we're going to do customs with analysis here where we play against each other. But effectively we're talking about my best plays on the board so that I learn and so that all of you can learn. Tarn, what do you have to say about this deck as we go into the game?
Yeah, it's not obviously a complete piece of cake, but it plays pretty smooth. And one of the things that's awesome about it is it's another deck that you can pretty much build on the cheap. Yes, it has the Nat Pagle, and yes, it has the Blood Mage, but those can be easily substituted, which you would usually substitute for some more card draw. The spell damage out of Blood Mage is really just a slight bonus. You're not really even using him that much for spell damage there. So it's a really good deck that you can get into for looking for a good control deck on the cheap. If you don't have that many cards, you're just getting into the game. It's definitely a deck that I would recommend. It's not one that I'm too familiar with it myself, but having messed around with it a little bit, it's pretty easy to get into the flow of things of how it works because it utilizes so many of the neutral cards that are common to a lot of decks. Right. You know, the Shattered Suns, the Defenders of Argus, and Dark Iron, etc.
And as you say that you're not too familiar with it, that means you don't play it regularly on the ladder, but you have played it, and both of us have played against it many times, so to say that you're not familiar is a bit of an understatement.
True. But that is exactly what she said, is that I don't often play it myself, but it is something that I am familiar with, per se, I guess.
So now, we're playing against a mage who we know, we're playing this as if I know he's got Weapon Killer, so typically when we do custom to analysis, we do it as if we don't know what we're up against. But because this deck we're playing against, this mage, has such an advantage against this rogue, having one Harrison Jones and one Ooze, we decided to even it out. At the very least, we're going to let us play as if we know it so we can try to play around it. And we thought it would make for an interesting game. So that being said, I have 2 Eviscerates, an Assassin's Blade, and a Defender of Argus. And I feel like knowing what I'm up against, I definitely want to get rid of the Assassin's Blade, and it's a 5 mana cost. The Defender is something I would probably get rid of, and I would probably keep both Eviscerates, maybe one, but I think I'd go with both. Is that what you think? And tell me why.
Yeah, I would actually lean towards just getting you more options for more of your early game utility. Okay. Using both right away in the early game, it's not necessary, because you're going to want something that can combo into the Eviscerate.
Like a backstab, which I just drew.
Exactly. So that puts you in a really nice spot there. Backstab,
well, I also got the Rogue's Best card, the neutral spell, the Coin. So I think that's a good advantage.
That is also very true.
So I think I'm going to coin out the Defias, since I just drew that. I think that's pretty standard. If you get it, it's a great way to start. Yeah,
there's not too much else about that. That's really strong.
And just so we keep the conversation going, you can talk through your plays, but ultimately we'll be discussing the best options for me. And I have an Argent Commander, a Harvest Golem, and a Backstab. So it sounds like I've got some decent early game and some decent mid game. And I just drew an Assassin's Blade. So with 2 here, I think it's a pretty straightforward weapon up and attack. And I actually think I'd attack with the weapon as well, since I don't have any poison.
Yeah, not having the poison, I would go ahead and go for it. You know, for your opponent, that is a tell that you don't have the weapon. However, I mean, big deal. It's a tell that you don't have the weapon.
Also, on turn 2, am I wrong? Am I not wrong that next turn I can attack something, weapon up, and add the poison as my full turn? So that would be okay if I did draw it.
Yes, however, keeping in mind that you know that this deck has weapon kill, you don't want to add poison to your weapon until you're going to use the weapon, generally speaking. Really great point.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I did not think of that. So, I have a Backstab to get rid of your Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I have an SI Agent to do 2 damage to your Sorcerer's Apprentice if I can combo it. But I don't have any way to combo it except Backstab, so I think I'd already have used it. So I think it's a, I think it's an Attack the Face, weapon up, Backstab, or Harvest Golem and leave your guy on board. I'm not too much of a fan of leaving that a Sorcerer's Apprentice on board. I think I'm...
You know what? I would lean towards just kill it. You want to kill it for sure. You can Backstab and Harvest Golem. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Backstab is 0.
It's nice and free for you. Nice and free.
So attack the face. Use the last of the weapon, because I'm going to want to get a new weapon anyway soon, don't you think? Or keep it?
Yeah, you might as well use it. There's nothing wrong with using it in this case. If you're playing as if you knew this deck, you would know that there's not really much that you're going to kill for 1 damage.
And again, that's okay. I do know your deck very well. I just meant that I knew I was playing against a weapon deck, not every single card in your deck. But yeah, that's a very good point. God, I'm really bad at this deck. I didn't know Backstab was free, and the number's right in front of me. Well, this is why we learn, and this is how we learn. I get to learn in front of all you wonderful people. Okay, 1 damage and no 2 cost. That's pretty interesting. So I drew a Dark Iron Dwarf. I also have, like I said, SI Agent, Eviscerate, Argent, Assassin's Blade. I feel like the Dwarf is a pretty straightforward move here. And next turn I'll be able to Eviscerate, SI Agent, or something, some combination of that. But it will cost me one of the 2 combos.
Yeah, the Dwarf is fine. I think it's pretty straightforward. Exactly the 4 mana that you got.
Okay. Wow, this deck does really play itself, huh, Tarn?
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness. I played some... This is... We're laughing because I played Rogue a month ago, and it wasn't this deck, and I just was not good with it, so it really seemed like a painful situation for me. Ooh, look at that. Blood Mage Arcane Explosions, I like. Alright, I gotta get rid of everything you got here, so... I can kill your Apprentice with my 2/1, and I can play my Fairy Dragon, which I just drew, and then I can SI Agent your Blood Mage. Both are gonna die in both situations, so it doesn't matter which one I
No, that's really good. Yeah, trading your broken Harvest Golem is just pretty fantastic, especially if you're killing something like the Apprentice.
This guy's toast.
And yeah, you're still left in
and you never use
really good shape.
And you never use the Eviscerate, right? Unless you really need that 4 damage.
Yeah, you want to try the best you can, of course, to be able to do that full damage to it.
What are your options for coming back here? Play your cards out, but when it comes back to my turn, what are your options here for coming back with your deck?
Best options are to hope for like a board clear at this point because I'm so low on health.
Yeah.
So something like a Flame Strike. Not too many mages these days are running Blizzard. I do see some toss 1 Blizzard in there.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of mages start to actually run 2 Flame Strikes again, which is a little excessive. I think 1 is right around the sweet spot, but I've seen a lot running 2 these days, so that's something to always be wary of.
So I have an Argent and I drew a Gnomish Inventor. My initial instinct was to bring the Argent on board and attack. Of course, I would attack with my minions on board first, just to see what happens with the secret. But then I thought, what about the Gnomish Inventor out, and then the Eviscerate for 4? I'll get a card, I'll use the Eviscerate for 4, and I'll save the Argent in case you start board clearing. That does seem like a possibly stronger play.
Yeah, that's really strong. I would probably, just see what you get with the card. I might even just hold on to the Eviscerate.
Okay.
Yes, you would want to attack first to see what the secret is. Make sure it's not something.
Yeah.
Hey, lights out.
And so you're saying, don't use the Eviscerate if I get what? Something I can play, or weapon up? Because I got a shattered Sun Cleric. Excuse me. So it's basically Eviscerate or weapon.
At this point, an Eviscerate's not too bad, just because you're pushing that lethal range.
Yeah.
So it's really a pretty strong play at this point. If I was higher on health, I would say hold on to the Eviscerate. But since I'm not,
the one thing I did. Okay, so there's your Flame Strike. So it was good that I was going to say the one thing that I could go wrong here is if I basically didn't use Eviscerate and I had all these minions on board, but now I've gotten you down low enough that I can actually proc what I'm imagining is your secret. So I also got a Deadly Poison, give your weapon +2 attack. Do you need to have a weapon to give it +2 attack, or is it like the Rock Biter weapon?
You do need to have a weapon.
Okay.
You do need to have a weapon, and to analyze the secret, the Mage secret, it's one of 2 secrets for sure right now.
Right.
Because you've played a minion,
Yep.
you've attacked my face,
Yep.
and you've played a spell. And so the only 2 secrets that it could be would be a Spellbinder, which is only triggered if you target a minion with the spell,
itself. Correct, yeah.
or the Ice Block.
Which
so
is
you
like
know
99%
for sure.
of this chance.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking I'm just going to bring down the Argent and proc it, and I'm not going to bring the Assassin's Blade out. Not going to give you a chance to Harrison me.
Right. No, that's perfect, and that'll put you really in a sweet spot. I don't know if there's actually there might be. Okay.
Well, that wasn't supposed to go. That was supposed to be more informative and more of a learning experience than it ended up being.
Well, I got my standard RNG.
Yeah.
So that is now definitely GG.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss with all 3 missiles. That is fantastic.
Wow. Yeah.
I had to hope for 2 hits on your
whoops.
Argent.
I did the wrong one. I did the wrong weapon. There we go. That's the right weapon. And that was
Whoops. Oh, wait. Not putting Deadly Poison.
Oh,
the BMs.
look at this. And now I'm going to hit Harrison. Worst play of all time.
I might make you pay for that.
I'm sure
I
you
might.
will. I just ruined that. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done.
I mean, we know the game was had, but that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. Although I think you have Defender or something. I don't know what you have. I know you don't.
We must cleanse the Sunwell. Here we go.
I almost weaponed up. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, the game is over, but we'll just play it to its illogical conclusion. Oh, you got me? I think you got me. That's awesome. Well, so there you go. Don't ever make a mistake with a rogue. Nicely done. That I deserve that from misplaying that at the end there.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we were just talking through it, so that was over. It was well played. You had me on the turn 8.
Yeah. All right. Let's do one more. Shall we do it against the Paladin? We'll play one game with the mid-range rogue versus the Paladin, the Aggro Paladin.
Sure.
Yep. And again, I can chalk that. Well, so be it. So now playing against the Paladin, I think what's interesting is that Aggro Paladin or any Paladin tends to have a lot of minions with 1 health. So I drew my Fan of Knives. That's a great card to keep. I've got a Harvest Golem. That's a good one. I've got an Assassin's Blade, which is a little bit late gamey. I think that's what I would throw back.
Yeah, I would probably get rid of the blade.
Okay. And I drew an Eviscerate, which might end up getting used as a 2-cast spell, but we'll see.
The pleasure is mine.
Well met.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for those of you interested in the deck list is up on the left-hand side of the screen. Well, I can bring out a Fairy Dragon, or I can Eviscerate, or Weapon Up. And I gotta feel like Eviscerate's the best thing against the aggro here, even though it's a bit of a waste, if you will. You tell me.
Sorry.
I have an Eviscerate and a Fairy Dragon, or I can Weapon Up and do 1 damage. I feel like it's gotta be Eviscerate here. Fairy's seems like a distant second best play.
Yeah, Eviscerate's not too bad in this situation, just because, you know, coining out a Knife Juggler is a good hint. It's a good hint that you're facing a lot of small minions and some aggression. And you mentioned something I didn't think about. You said that you coined it out, so effectively it's a 2-for-1, which is good. Exactly.
And now I feel more comfortable bringing out a Harvest Golem, because that can at least trade with your guy in a way that I like, and won't die to a bunch of minions coming out, because it's got 3 health. Alright, so I've got a Defias Ringleader, a Fairy Dragon, a Harvest Golem, and a Fan of Knives. So is the goal here to kind of hold my own until I can Fan of Knives?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the goal is to do your best to keep my minions at bay.
Nice.
Which we're getting some RNG in the favor here.
Good shot.
For once.
So I think with 4 mana drawing an Argent Commander, I can bring out Defias Ringleader and Fairy Dragon, not in that order, and get some extra minions on board. I can Fan of Knives and not kill anything, and I can Weapon Up and not kill anything. So I feel like it's got to be Fairy Defias. Leave the Harvest.
Yeah, you've got to definitely play to try to get something on board to trade.
Okay. I like the Fairy Dragon in this deck. That 2-cost guy, I really like that for your combos.
It definitely is nice. It definitely puts a nice combo on board. Unfortunately, that was what was in the hand here, but
it's a really good turn 4. Alright, for turn 5, that's not bad.
Backstab's is definitely nice.
And I can bring out him, and I can get rid of your Harvest Golem. So, I took quite a bit of damage there. I'm at half health. It was a really strong start for you. A couple clunky moves required on my end, I think. So I think this is a really good start.
Yeah, I'd say in general, it is tough just because things can snowball with the aggro Paladin.
Alright. I do have a 6-drop, which I could use to start to work away at your 6/6 with both minions. The other thing I could do is I could Fan of Knives for 1, SI Agent for 2. Now, then I'd have to take a hit with my weapon. So I think it's got to be Argent and Harvest.
Yeah, you've absolutely got to get rid of it.
The SI does 2, Fan does 3. Yeah, 4/5 with the Harvest, so there's no chance there. Thankfully, though, I can clear your 2/1. But I am at 6 health, and I imagine there's a Leroy in there. Plus, I'd have to. I don't really have a lot of taunt in this deck, so that's good enough. I'm gonna guess. Oh,
Well played.
I didn't even know that was in this deck. Blessing of Might. Nicely done.
The Wolf Rider?
No, the Blessing of Might.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in an aggro deck, aggro Paladin's going to run both the Kings and both the Mights.
Cool.
And pretty much never hit any of your minions.
Nice. Well, that was
with the exception of Consecrates, of course.
cool. That was fun, and I'm going to jump back to the agenda real quick, and also want to mention that as we move forward, talking about the Warlock deck, we might have an opportunity to talk a little bit about some changes. There are some proposed changes. Thank you to chat for mentioning this and linking us to the TinkMaster, as well as to Nat Pagle. Tarn, I don't know if you've heard about this, but one of the proposed changes is TinkMaster is now a 3/3 up from a 2/2, and the battle cry reads, transform another random minion into a 5/5 Devilosaur or a 1/1 Squirrel. So basically, they're making it a little bit stronger. And interesting. And then the Nat Pagle would read, at the start of your turn, you have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. So Nat Pagle will now draw a card at the start of your turn rather than at the end. So they're effectively giving your opponent an extra turn to kill it, or removing its first draw attempt before the opponent gets it. It's a very weak nerf, but that may be all that was required on Nat. What do you think about those changes?
Yeah, I definitely like the change to Nat. I think that's, may make things like coining out a Nat on turn 1 less appealing, because you don't get the chance of getting that card instantly. Although I think coining it on turn 1 is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get rid of it on turn 1.
Turn 2.
Yeah.
But giving the extra turn to deal with it is really good. That kind of eliminates the late game emergency, pray Nat Pagle draws me a card drop type of thing. I really need a card, let's take the 50-50 that I get one. Because most of the time when you're dropping it late game, it just gets killed in one turn anyway.
Yep.
The TinkMaster change, I don't know if I'm reading this right, but I don't know if there's any reason to buff TinkMaster, in my opinion. Now reads, is it not at random? Do you have to pick what you're changing? It doesn't, oh no, it says random transform
Another random minion. So it basically...
Oh, so it's not, okay, it's way changed.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't target it.
Yeah. So effectively, this only works on an empty board.
Exactly. I like that change a lot. I think TinkMaster has dominated the outcome of far too many games in far too many decks. For better or for worse, I kind of like that change. It completely changes the card. Essentially, Blizzard is also saying that they don't like the way it works either.
Yeah.
And so now they've kind of made it like that, the Goblin Manticores or whatever, chicken gun or whatever, so to speak. So that's really interesting.
Blizzard said that they will be making these changes, so these are not proposed. These are to be implemented.
Right,
I think that's a good change. I like it as a 3/3, the Tink. And transforming another random minion, I think that's great. And I also think it's good because I just started taking it out of my decks. Mostly my Shadow decks.
I actually have as well. So,
Nat Pagle, on the other hand, I like this. It's a minor nerf, very minor, meaning you just take away one of the potential card draws, but they didn't make it more than 2 mana, and they didn't make it less than 4 health, which I think both things would have made the card unplayable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, like you said, it's a minor nerf. It definitely affects... well, I mean, it's actually significant because it affects it moving forward. You don't get that chance right away. And so while they can't deal with it, say you coin it out on turn 1, while they can't necessarily always deal with it on their turn 2, they most likely can deal with it by their turn 3.
Right.
And at that point, it would have only had one chance to draw instead of 2 chances to draw. Exactly. So
it basically takes the first chance away, and that's it. And I think that's great. And also the other thing it does is you don't get the card till it's your turn, so you don't get to start deciding and planning, which is interesting. It means that, like, the better you are on the fly, especially on ladder when you don't have as much time, the more likely you are going to be the more likely you'll be able to utilize that card, that if there's a tricky combination involved.
For sure. That's, a minor effect, but it is still an effect. You do have one less card to kind of plan your next turn based off of while your opponent is making their moves.
Yep. So with that said, I think we're going to jump into our Warlock deck discussion. So for tonight, I'm playing a Warlock that I saw Nimsh play with a couple minor changes, but effectively it's a board control Warlock with Abusive Sergeants, Argent Squires, Flame Imps, Shield Bearers, and Void Walkers for taunt and control, Young Priestesses to give health, and then damage dealers like Direwolf Alpha to give buffs, Armani Berserker for enrage, Iron Beak for removing something or silencing something, and then you've got your Knife Jugglers, your Shattered Suns, your Defenders of Argus. Those are pretty straightforward. I have one Shadow Flame in here, which allows me to do the damage of a minion to the board, or to the enemy's board, which I found has been helpful. And I have 3 finishers, a Leroy and 2 Doom Guards. And that's the thing I saw Nimsh do that nobody else did. They're really tricky cards to play. It's really hard to play a Leroy well if you also have Doom Guards, and Doom Guards if you have Leroys. But if you have one of those cards, it's not so hard. 2, it becomes somewhat challenging, but all 3 in your deck, it can make it really hard to play. But Nimsh is an incredibly good player, very thoughtful, and he's played with this deck quite a lot, and I really like the power that it gives you to finish the game off if played correctly. So, Tarn, your thoughts on the deck before we jump into what will be a cooperative laddering?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like the Doom Guards a lot. The Doom Guards provide a lot of flexibility to even play them earlier on. Ditching, even if you have to ditch 2 cards, that's what the Doom Guard's there for. It maintains that board control, maintains such a strong presence. You're ditching 2 cards, but you're going to force usually a 2-for-1, if not better, Doom Guard if you're using it to control minions. And otherwise, if you're just going to the face, it's a 5/7. Really difficult minion to deal with at turn 5 or 6, which is when you're dealing with it, essentially. So,
and I found with the Doom Guard that you often, with this deck, don't need to... You're not often in a bad spot where you need to get rid of 2 minions. That's sort of the worst case scenario you were describing. Often you can do it when you've got 1 card in hand or no cards in hand, and you play another card, you play the card you draw, or multiple cards, and get it out, and then it's a rock crusher.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're playing it when your hand is empty or just 1 card or something that you don't really care about, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's just like Soulfire. I mean, it's just a permanent version because the creature is left on board.
Certainly.
But the consequences are the same.
Yeah, with 2 Soulfires, this is a tricky deck because sometimes you get a Doom Guard and a Soulfire, and you actually need to draw a few cards to get enough to play your Soulfire and hopefully not lose your Doom Guard when you're at that 9 damage death blow area. So I think we're going to have some fun with this on the ladder. And as with as with cooperative laddering, I will be playing on the ladder. I'm at rank 12, and I will be playing against, someone up on the ladder, and Tarn will be working with me.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And it looks like my Hearthstone has decided to glitch out, so...
Oh, I've had that bug a couple of times recently. It most likely just needs a game restart.
Alright, we're going to restart it
where your play button just doesn't function.
Yep.
Oh, your food's here.
How's it going, guys? Welcome. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for giving us great info in the chat.
Would you guys disenchant Tink? That's a tough question. I'm not in the habit of disenchanting my cards, but that's just because I don't need to.
Yeah.
I think it's a good option to think about.
Actually, I think I probably will. I think I most likely will, because there's another legendary I'd really like.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a good option because its insane usefulness has been eliminated.
I think
and it definitely is going to be a niche card now rather than like a must-have card.
As we play this game out, I've got 2 Abusive Sergeants, a Defender, and a Mortal Coil. I'm going to get rid of the Defender, keep everything else. Actually, I might get rid of one of the Abusive Sergeants. I'm going to leave it. You know what's an interesting thing? With Tink being terrible, and that was one of the ways people dealt with Druid, this is going to make late-game decks stronger. So, Tarn, what classes other than Druid, which is the obvious one, do you think is going to really benefit from this?
The light protects me.
Druid's going to be strong. The Control Warrior's definitely going to benefit from it when it's playing their big things like Alexstrasza, Gormash, Ragnaros. A lot of decks are playing Ragnaros. You see Ragnaros in things like some Mage decks. You see Alexstrasza in some Mage decks. Really just these big late-game finishers. The Warlock Giants deck, another one that's going to benefit just because that's another removal for the Giants that's taken away. So yeah, anything that's really heavy late-game focus is definitely going to get a buff.
Yeah.
From Tink being gone, and people are going to have to start considering running more silence in their decks.
Absolutely. So I actually chose to put my Direwolf Alpha out against his Squire. He did pull a Direwolf on the next turn, so that did hurt me because I used my coin. But either way, I didn't want to bring out Abusive Sergeants because that was going to trade for sure. And in this case, I had an option of it not trading, but I am going to get rid of the Squire, and I am going to put out an Abusive Sergeant now.
Yeah, I would actually go ahead and get rid of the Squire, Abusive Sergeant, and I'd get rid of his Wolf with the Soulfire.
Ooh, shoot. Okay. I did not do that, but that's why we're here. So I'll keep that in mind. So I do have an opportunity here to get rid of, now that I've saved the Soulfire. Oh, and he's Soulfiring my guy. And he lost his Doomguard, which is really good for me. So
that is definitely good.
So I have a Soulfire, like you said, so I could play out an Abusive Sergeant, and a Argent Squire, and then I could Soulfire. The other option is I could life tap, play one of my cards, my Squire probably, or my Sergeant. Probably my Sergeant. Actually, maybe the Squire, and then Soulfire. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have card advantage. However, you are going to need to start cutting into his cards a good amount. I wouldn't be... yeah, I think maybe tapping and putting out your Squire and just killing off the Wolf is not too bad. Keeping that strong advantage, but you are going to have to get some more tempo in your wake.
And let's talk about killing the Wolf. You don't want to kill the Harvest Golem, probably not because it's a 3/3, it'd be better to, but you want to keep it alive because killing it, you'd have 2 minions still, which allows them to get rid of the Squire, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the minion just comes back And the wolf is, you know, you are taking 1 damage off of the hardest golem and anything else that comes onto board.
And if he just hits face, I can abusive sergeant. I could have abusive sergeanted my squire, but now he taunted it up with a defender. So now I'm at. I can still do it. I can sun
Shattered Sun.
Shattered Sun my Argent, and I can abusive sergeant it. So I think that's going to be the play here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cleanse the sun well.
And I'm going to put my abusive sergeant to the far right, keeping where I might potentially want to taunt minions to the left. And I'm thinking I would potentially want to taunt my bigger minions, right?
Yeah, of course. I think that would be fine.
I fight.
You can assume that something's going to die here.
Yeah. So we can't kill my... no, actually that's not true. Everything can trade 1 for 1. So more likely than not... oh, he got a Doom Guard. That's tough. So we got his second Doom Guard. And it looks like I'm playing almost the exact same deck. And I think I'm going to bring out a Flame Imp and Defender of Argus it, because I need to stop the bleeding here.
Let's see. Oh, he did trade. Yeah.
So with a Doom, he's got a Doom Guard on board and a Defender. I only have an Abusive Sergeant. But I do have a Flame Imp and a Defender with 5 mana, and I don't think my Shadow Flame plays here.
Yeah, unfortunately it doesn't, because he did some trading down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go ahead and play out your cards.
And I think, though, I don't know, like, I'm torn about attacking the Defender. He's gonna have to attack with his Defender anyway. I feel like going for face is better.
Yeah, I would. I mean, why not? He's gonna have to attack with it. Unless he's running a Shadow Flame himself, which should not be in the deck that he's running. He's looking like he's running the straight up Zoo.
But he's got the Argent.
Zoo deck.
Oh, so here's the Argent, and now the 5 to the face.
That is rough.
Yup. I did draw a taunt, so I can life tap. But if I life tap, then my Shadow Flame. This is really tough. I don't think the Shadow Flame is going to work here, because it won't do enough damage to the 5/7. I think I need to taunt and life tap and see what I get.
Right. I mean, the Shadow Flame, however, will kill the Argent.
Right.
I mean, it would buy you 1 more turn. If you tap and taunt. It's a rough situation.
And I'm gonna kill the Argent anyway with my Defender, so it's gonna die one way or the other. Why not use the card?
Yeah, you might as well. That's actually really true.
It's killing my mana.
Getting another 2 damage to the face is not worth it there.
So I've got 1 more turn to help me deal with. Well, now that the Flame Imp did 3 extra damage, I'm at 5 health, so I can probably not even life.
Oh no, it was a Flame.
Yeah. Well, I think with similar decks, getting a good early start, especially as he did, and when I use my coin, him finishing me off, I think that's GG. I mean, that was GG early on, I guess.
Yeah, that was that's rough. I mean, similar decks. It comes down to what's in the starting hands. I don't really think there was that much of an opportunity to play different. And I don't see you drawing anything that could really... Oh, you got a taunt, although...
Yeah, it's GG.
Nope. Yeah.
Alright, well, I think that was an interesting matchup and shows how early advantage for similar decks in aggro or board control is critical. I never had board control, and he did. So that... I think my first play of printing out my 2/2 with the coin hurt me bad, because I use my coin, which helps to give you board control back, and otherwise hurt myself because he got rid of the minion.
Yeah, I'd say for this style of deck, if you're going to use the coin on turn 1, it should be for 2 minions rather than just for the 1 minion.
Yep.
especially if there's a situation where they could potentially just kill that one minion. Because if you're able to stay at least one minion ahead of your opponent, then things start to snowball, and that's really what he did to you. He was just really one minion ahead of you until he got his Doom Guard, and it just snowballed from there.
And also, I didn't Soulfire a minion when I could have, so let's go again, and we're going to see what we get up against. Playing here as the board control Warlock, the Nymph-style Warlock, and we're going to see where this ladder takes us. But certainly, I think the strength of this deck is early pushes, if you do get the coin, like you said, pointing out 2 minions, as well as having the opportunity to just sort of continue to pummel your opponent and draw cards as necessary. Alright, we are finding ourselves up against a warrior. Alright, the Blackfish. And I've got Abusive Sergeant, Shattered Sun, Shadow Flame, and Leroy. And I think I'm getting rid of everything but Abusive. I don't think I like to keep Shattered. I like 1 and 2 drops this early.
Yeah, there's no reason to actually keep a 3-drop. You still have odds of drawing into a 3-drop. Actually, the Shadow Flame, yeah, get rid of everything, just what you said.
I got the coin so I can play 2 minions, and he's playing a Leper Gnome. So this actually worked out perfectly. I drew an Argent Squire, so I can choose to coin out the Mortal Coil, and then either play a Flame Imp or an Argent Squire, save the Sergeant, or see if I get something even better. I tend to like the Flame Imp, but he will have on turn 2 the ability to play a weapon, so the Argent Squire could be better. But I'm going to first Mortal Coil here. And I got a Defender. So that Defender could be helpful early game if I... yeah, that could be really helpful. Is there any reason to not coin now so I could turn 3 Defender? I can turn 2 Argent and Flame Imp and turn 3 Defender.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, he is running aggro, so you might want to be keeping the board presence on him. But like you said, there's a lot of things that he could clear if you put the Flame Imp down.
So maybe it's either it's Argent Squire then, or it's pass.
Yeah, I'd probably go ahead and pass at this point, actually.
Okay.
And just see what he plays. I like that turn 3 Defender.
Plays a Fairy Dragon. So I would have had an opportunity there to Abusive Sergeant my Squire and take it out if he had played it that way. Also, I do have I drew a Soulfire, but I can't attack that minion. So I think it's what I was going to do before. Argent and Flame Imp, be okay with the trade for the Flame Imp.
Right.
Okay, I will play that then. The one other thing would be, no. I was gonna say I could life tap and then coin out something, but
no, you saved the coin with a purpose, so
keep it.
And you've got plenty of cards to play. You might as well keep it there.
Yeah. So we'll see what he chooses to do here. He might want to go face, thinking that he's gonna get the damage out, and he's bringing out a Frothing Berserker. So and he does trade, making the Berserker a 4/4. So actually, I really like now bringing out the Defender, using a coin, and letting the Soulfire get rid of either my Shield Bearer, my Abusive Sergeant, or my Shattered Sun, and get rid of his Frothing Berserker.
Well, you know, actually, you can Shattered Sun and coin Abusive Sergeant, and be left with 3 minions on board.
Wow.
And kill his Frothing.
And I don't lose any of mine. So that's definitely a better one. Okay. We definitely like. Good. Tarn, you've just earned your spot for next week's show.
Sweet, not fired. Yes.
And I'm going to put the Abusive Sergeant on the far end, because that would theoretically be what I would not taunt up. That's tough for him. He traded a minion to make his bigger with mine. which is not wrong, but then it got taken out, and that's a big guy. He's got a Corcoran Elite charging to go to the face, which now is a perfect opportunity for me to Defender and wipe him out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful.
Now, my thought is either I use the Soulfire and it gets rid of my Shield Bearer or my Knife Juggler, or I Defender with one of those defenders being on the Abusive and I trade the Abusive. But I feel like board control's better, so I feel like I should Soulfire here.
Yeah, I actually like the Soulfire, and you're left with the two strong taunters.
Yeah.
And you hope that it gets rid of your. Well, actually, you could go either way, but you won't be broken up about losing either of those. At least.
Yeah, I'm not broken up about losing either of those, and I don't want to lose a minion to that if I don't have to. So would you Defender the 2/2 and the 3/2, or would you? I like leaving the Abusive on his own to clean up a mess, but you tell me.
Yeah. No, I'd rather go with the stronger minions. Have a nice 3/3 and a 4/3 with taunt.
I lost the Knife Juggler, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think a taunt is better in this situation when he's trying to push.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my Shield Bearer, and next turn I can life tap and probably play at least 2 minions. Fiery War Axe to my Shattered Sun. And he brings out a Blood Sail Raider with 5/3 and an Argent Squire. Not so worried about the Argent Squire. I got a Void Walker, so I'm gonna life tap.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I got a Knife Juggler, so I think I bring out the Knife Juggler, and I'm okay with it hitting either of those minions. So I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the question is it the Void Walker or the Shield Bearer? I kind of feel like... the Shield Bearer, because he's got a 3-attack weapon. So the
yeah, absolutely. You're going to want to deal with the 5/3 anyway this turn.
Yeah.
So you might as well get that extra taunt.
Okay, so I hit the Squire, so I can get rid of the Squire with my with one of my minions that stays alive. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to sacrifice my my Argent Squire with taunt. There's no other way to get rid of that 5/3.
That's okay. It got more than its value, and you have another taunt up in place, and he doesn't have the damage on board anymore to deal with, a one hit of the taunt. He could, of course, play something, but
yep.
Still looking in good shape there.
And I do like that I only had to trade 1 minion there, even though it was a little bit stronger. So I think that early play with Defendering and getting a stronger minion out is nice. And he does have an Argent Commander, which will get rid of my 0/4. So that actually worked out really well. A Void Walker, he could have killed with the weapon, but this way he's kept his his Mortal Coil, I should say. I mean, I'm not Mortal Coil, I'm sorry. He's kept his Divine Shield. I just drew a Mortal Coil.
Right.
So, I did get a Direwolf Alpha.
Okay.
I don't know. I might I don't know that I need the card. I might Mortal Coil just to get rid of the shield and use one of my minions.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad play there. You gotta take that out, and you're pretty even on cards, but you have the advantage in terms of draw because you're playing a Warlock. So I think that's a fine play.
The one other thing I'm thinking, Tarn, is I could attack the face for 6 damage and put a Void Walker next to the Direwolf, giving it 2/3, which would force his Argent to die unless he has some way of dealing with it. And I have 17 health, so that does seem like a stronger move.
Actually, I like that. I'd go with that.
But it is a little risky, right?
It's a little bit of a gamble. It's a little bit of a gamble for sure.
And I'm gonna,
because he could pull weapons, he could pull other creatures with charge too.
And I put it to the side of the Direwolf where the Defender of Argus was, because I want my Abusive Sergeant to be able to trade if necessary. Yep, he's trading the guy, so that's really great for us. And now we brought out a bunch of stuff. He's taking damage, and I've got lethal. Yep, that's GG. Nice. I will not be bad manner. I'm going to turn into the non-bad manner because you have taken over the bad manner zone.
No, man. Never. Never.
All right. Well, that was a fun one. And Tarn, as usually with these cooperative ladderings, there's not always a critical difference in play, but you spotted one I might have seen had I been not talking and hosting. But either way, it's really important to notice that if you can take your time every turn when there's more than one decision and find something, that one choice where Abusive Sergeant and Shattered Sun was really solid, was really, really solid.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, that's just a trap I fall into even on the ladder myself. If I'm tired or if I'm just distracted or I'm just playing fast, that's actually one of my bad habits is I like to play fast. And so I've been trying to focus a little bit more on assessing all options.
Certainly.
And in this case, you just had a really, really strong option to leave yourself with 3 minions on board with him having nothing on his end.
I think that's a really important point. Let's sort of reiterate this. Forget the fact that the Soulfire removed a minion from my hand. Forget that. Forget the fact that the Divine Shield protected my minion, meaning the thing that's killing his stayed alive. If you forget both of those facts, which I think both would have been arguments enough to make the different play that you recommended, the fact that I'm left with 3 minions, this is a board control Warlock deck. It's got that name for a reason. You need to establish board control because you're not going to be able to take it back if you lose it. So I think my operative way of viewing this game is how do I take as much board control as possible. And I didn't have that sort of eye of the tiger, that real desire to get that board control, as much as I was looking to clear more of a control style oriented, which I'm used to for my other decks.
Absolutely, and that's a really good point to make, and it again falls into mistakes that I often make is someone makes a move and you're like, okay, that thing needs to die now.
Right.
And you see the first option that can kill it, and you're like, okay, I can kill it. Whereas sometimes I've had the mistake of, I could have just killed him. Like, I had lethal, but I'm like, oh, that's a Ragnaros or something. It needs to die now. Or in this case, oh, it has 4 life. I've got a Soulfire. Soulfire does 4 damage. Easy peasy, no problem. But if you just, and sometimes that is the only option, of course. A lot of times that is the only option. But other times, like in this case, you assess, and it's great when it plays into the strength of the deck, which this one did, and that is board control. Especially against a warrior where you're not worried about things like flame strikes or consecrates or mass AoE besides a whirlwind.
Yep.
And even then you were safe from whirlwind because everything had more than 1 health.
I think that play was a strong enough difference between what I chose and what you saw to actually turn the game. Not that I was losing, maybe turning the game is the wrong word, to get me so far out in front that it's really going to be hard to come back. Those are really important situational moves in Hearthstone that are key to see, not just talk about abstracts, but to see them in the flesh, on the board, and that's what I love about this show, and that's what I love about having you as my co-host. So thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. That move, it tipped the boulder onto his side of the mountain, and he just wasn't able to push it back after that point.
That's right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show, guys. We had a really fun one, as you just saw, where we got to look at the board control Warlock and the mid-range Rogue. And we're going to be doing different character classes each week for the next few weeks, getting to round out our knowledge of the game and the different classes. We play against them on the ladder all the time, but there's nothing like playing them specifically to really get you to understand them. Even Artosis played Murlocs to get to know it better, and then even brought it to the Seat Story Cup. So, anyone can do it. And certainly, we both still have a lot of love for our main decks, but it was really fun for me to learn and play. And I'm still not a big fan of Rogue, but I am getting to like a board control Warlock. Probably no Murlocs in my future, because I do disenchant those cards for dust whenever I can.
But keep the pirates. That's what we learned.
Keep the pirates. Kill the Murlocs, keep the pirates. And you know what's interesting? The the production team for Hearthstone has talked about making some interesting new cards for pirates in the expansion. So, Tarn, that's a really good play.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. The party ship is only going to continue to grow.
I'll jump on board that bandwagon when they do it. I promise.
Awesome.
And with that, guys, I want to thank you all for watching on Twitch and those guys in chat. For you guys, we're going to play some more ladder matches after we end the show. And for all of you there on YouTube or iHeartU, thank you guys for watching. Leave your comments and suggestions. And everybody, we've got to tell you that it's been a really fun group of shows. We're going to be at episode 15 next week, and we're expanding our classes in that we're using different archetypes, different heroes, and we're going to be doing different game types, and we're going to be doing our oldies but goodies as well with our constructed draft and all those wonderful things. So we have a lot of great shows coming for you in the near future. Thank you guys so much for coming out. To my co-host Tarn, any last words? I do want to say thank you to you, though. So much appreciated.
I don't know, a great show, as always. Thank you. Finally, in my new situation here, so I finally will be up and streaming again, most likely 5 nights a week at Tarn33 on Twitch. It's been about a month off of that, and I'm really looking forward to getting back on the streams, so I hope to see some of you guys there. But most importantly, hope to see you guys here next week.
Nice. Absolutely. We'll see you guys here next week. Come and find us on Twitch, and you can talk to us in chat. We are reading the chat while the show is going on. Thank you to those of you in chat now. We see it. We love it. You guys are the best. And great questions as well. And anybody mind if I roll mead?